Fadi Abu Alam is a prominent global advocate for peace building, conflict resolution, transitional justice, human rights, non-violence, and the environment. He is the founder of the Permanent Peace Movement, has spoken regularly at major international conferences, including presentations to the United Nations. He's the current president of the Lebanese Greens. And I'm happy to say I had the enormous pleasure of campaigning with Fadi in September last year and meeting with the Lebanese Greens, seeing the work that Fadi and the Lebanese Greens are doing on building across Lebanon, a peace movement, a movement devoted to protecting the environment, a movement that's backing in the 4 pillars. And I had the enormous pleasure to be invited to Fadi's beautiful home in the hills to the east of Lebanon, to the east of Beirut. And it was an extraordinarily welcoming experience. And I began to get some understanding of the enormous respect with which Fadi is held, not just amongst the Greens, but amongst the broader peace movement in the Middle East and across the world. At this moment, when Lebanon is facing such a brutal attack from Israel, threats to turn southern Lebanon into something like Gaza, the bombings that are happening throughout Beirut, the sheer number of people displaced. I can't tell you what a privilege it is that Fadi's been able to find the time to speak with us and give us that direct insight from Lebanon. Fadi, I think you're in the Permanent Peace Movement's office, which is just above the Greens office. I've been fortunate enough to visit you there. Fadi, thanks so much for joining us. If you could start by just telling us what the conditions are like at the moment as you're sitting there in Beirut.
Thank you, David. Actually, whenever we together, we don't feel that there is a border for humanity. We feel your friendship, brotherhood. Whenever you visited us in Lebanon last September, really having the same vision, having same identity, having humanity as their own sect and beliefs. I'm actually speaking to you today from a country at war. Since 2nd of March, the current months, bombs continue to fall on the southern suburb of Beirut, on villages in the south, as well Bekaa Valley and different places in our small country. Over 1 million people have been displaced. Just starting March. Over 1,000 have been killed and 3,000 wounded. Families are sleeping in the streets, in unfinished buildings, and in overcrowded shelters. But before I speak about what's happening now, let me just reflect for our party here in Lebanon, the Green Party of Lebanon. It's actually a modern party, a classical, non-sectarian, for sure, big dreams for us. A country blessed with extraordinary natural beauty, having the cedars, as you did see here, on the top of the mountain and at the heart of our flag. A country which can be a model for an ecological democracy in the Middle East. 3 core principles. First one, it is about ecological justice. We believe that healthy environment is a human right issue. A country like Lebanon, having forests, river, coastlines, a country like this one, it is by itself an ecological area where deserts from the Mediterranean to the Gulf exist, a very exceptional one. Second issue, it is about peace. Lebanon has known too much war for us. Just starting the civil war, 1975, now rarely we can see some years without having any kind of wars or armed clashes. The third issue, it is important for us, which is our regimes, our democracy, our human rights. We are a party of citizens, not militias, not sectarian leaders. We believe that Lebanon future depend on our own, let's say, having accountable institutions, empowering women and youth, creating spaces for all voices to be heard. So now for our situation. What we are witnessing is not a border. It is a border, not a border clashes. Beginning of March, Israeli forces launched sustained attacks across Lebanon. The stated target is Hezbollah, who is belonging to the Shiite sect around the third of the country. Considering for paying the price, our integrity. Entire neighborhoods in the southern suburb of Beirut have been flattened. Villages in the south that have stood for countries, for centuries, are now rubble. Over 1 million people, nearly a quarter of Lebanon population, have been displaced within less than a month. Families fled with nothing, not a blanket, not a change of clothes, not food. Mothers carry their children for miles, seeking shelter. Does not exist. The health system is collapsing. 47 primary health centers have closed. 5 major hospitals are out of service. In the south, entire communities are empty. In Beirut, neighborhoods that were once bustling with life are now ghost towns. And the displacement is not over. Every day brings new evacuation orders. The Israeli defense minister has warned that displaced Lebanese will not be able to return home south of the Litani River. This is not just war. This is talk, a permanent expulsion of collective punishment against entire communities. Lebanon was already fragile. We had been living through an economic collapse since 2019. Our currency has lost 95% of its value. Electricity and medicine were scarce. The 2020 Beirut port explosion had shattered our capital. Now war has pushed us to the edge of survival. That's our situation here, and trying to do our best from our side as Lebanese Green, trying to respond as much as we can. To be honest here, the Green Party of Lebanon do not have large budget, but we have something that can be bombed, that cannot be bombed. We have each other, connecting to each other from all of the country, where rarely you can find a party in Lebanon having such an existence. Every party just belongs to a certain sect. But for us, all the Lebanese here, wherever they exist, within every small community, having green. Since the war began, our members have been on the ground here, exist in all of the country, trying to do our best. Trying to do our best, like working on first emergency, let's say relief, trying to do on voluntary base in different places in this country. And from the other side, trying to maintain our organizational cohesion, looking for the future to be efficient with the coming, let's say, days, coming new maybe shape of this country. So trying to keep alive a party like this one, to be efficient, to be part of the new country that we are looking to have in the coming future after the war. The third issue is to preparing for that stage, trying to have our, let's say, relations within the global green to play a role were built on human rights one, non-violence. So now in such a situation, what we are looking for is a ceasefire. It is so important to stop human rights violation, to stop killing. Second issue, having humanitarian relief, humanitarian support. It's so important for our situation. Reject collective punishment. So when Israeli officials speak of displaced Lebanese never returning to their homes, the world must speak out loudly. This is not acceptable under international law. Collective punishment, it is a war crime. It is an ethnic cleansing. It is an atrocity crime. The world must say clearly, displaced persons have the right to return safely and voluntarily to their homes. Fourth issue here, to support Lebanese civil society. It is really here so important at this stage. We need solidarity, we need funding, we need investing in the democratic future, helping to rebuild our country here, and complicity. The world must stop enabling this violence, enabling it by diplomatic support, enabling by supporting by arms, enabling by their silence. Every government that has provided weapons or political cover for this war must reconsider its position. Finally, to prepare for peace. One day this war will end. When it does, Lebanon will need to rebuild. The world must be ready to support the green reconstruction, not just rebuilding what was destroyed, but building something better, sustainable housing, renewable energy, environmental restoration, and a political system that serves all Lebanese. The Green Party of Lebanon want to be a partner in that effort. Let me maybe here offer our gratitude to the Global Green family, to you, David, and Australian Green Party. Always you are supporting us, beside us. Appreciate a lot your kindness. And we hope that the Green, that we believe that that one day for sure, hope to have it soon, to stop the bombing. And Lebanese Green will be there to help, let's say, with the support of the Green all over the world to rebuild. We believe that a politics of ecology, peace, and justice, where it should be the root of this country and the future of this country. But we cannot do it alone. We need all of you, people with their goodwill, their green will, let's say. That's what we need to live with our humanity. We need your solidarity. We need you to act with us. The people of Lebanon are resilient. They have survived war, economic collapse, and disaster. They will survive this, but they should not have to survive alone. Thank you so much.
What's if we were to be walking the streets of Beirut now?
What?
You know, the streets that I'd been walking with you just in September of last year. What would we see after these weeks of bombing on the street?
Big difference, David, a big difference now. All the Lebanese people, whenever walking in the street or within their cars, always having their mobile to see if there is any alert coming from the Israeli side to evacuate. So we are, let's say, sleeping at the night and trying from time to time to look for the phone. If wherever you are living, there is any alert to evacuate. The issue of evacuation here, it is not on daily basis. It is because we don't Hezbollah from one side, or let's say exist under your building or whatever. So, but here, whatever I trying to say that it is a war with no frontiers here. It is not on the border. The war here, it is exists in every building, in every street, all over Lebanon. So, and the IQ here, and for destruction, for war, and not for peace. So they are trying to look where they are exist here. It is a war never happened before. But whenever coming to the situation on the ground, people moving from one region to another. So I don't know here. Nobody know how it will go, and for the coming future, in which country we will live in. It's a big challenge here. Our government trying to do their best, the president and the prime minister, and they initiate, they suggest a peace, let's say, solution, peaceful solution.
Fadi, the calls that that you're making on behalf of the Lebanese Greens, I think you've said it's ceasefire, it's humanitarian support, and then it's Australia hopefully joining with the rest of the world to stop sending weapons into the Middle East, stop sending weapons, particularly into Israel, for this war. Do you want to talk about any of those core demands that's coming from the ground in Lebanon? Could I just ask you about, there's all the appalling damage to people's homes, to people's communities. More than 1,000 Lebanese lives have been taken by these Israeli attacks. But can you also talk about, you opened your discussion by just the beautiful environment of Lebanon, this extraordinarily precious place you live in, the cedar trees, the gorgeous coastline. What's happening to the environment with this war?
Don't imagine how it's going on in the south. Many forests here burn for not using, let's say, the trees to have the fighters, let's say under them or like this. So, and using phosphoric bombs, it is also affecting a lot our environment and the ecological, the environmental consequences. So all these bombs here leaving devastating, let's say, effect on the people, on the land, the air here. So, but whenever coming to people dying for our, let's say, concern, giving priority for the human sufferings. But for our environment, don't imagine how is it.
But did you say they're using phosphorus and phosphorus bombs?
Yes.
Where
Every
is that?
day, every day it is clear because we are the phosphoric white phosphor. Human Rights Watch here documenting many of the situations where they are using, and it is clear here on our, let's say, TV screens, we can because they are, I say, they are using them as and still small ever use this kind of.
Yeah.
And
so
here known that white phosphorus is formidable. It is a formidable kind of ammunitions.
I mean, it's appalling that Israel is using such an appalling weapon because of what it does to people and the environment. Fadi, have you Have you spoken with any of the
All
Lebanese?
kind, yes, all kind of voice actually it is using here. Have you spoken with any Lebanese?
Have you spoken with
Have you
any of
spoken?
the Lebanese Australian community over the last few weeks or months?
No, actually,
In
Lebanese
connection with
Australian community now we don't have connections. It happened before, yeah, let's say previous months and before we were in contact, but now no. Uh, Much more here working internally and every day trying to cope with the new disasters.
Yeah.
Because every day there is a certain place asking to be evacuated. So here new responsibility will come to cope with the situation. So it is like this.
I think
So our concern is on daily basis on our internal situation. So here it's really so important to support the central government. Supporting central government in this situation, it is the key entrance of peace in Lebanon. So,
but, yeah.
because the new government was president and important asking to support the central government.
We hear almost nothing in Australia. One of the questions we hear almost nothing about the calls from the Lebanese government. We'll often get spokespeople from the Israeli government in the Australian media. Can I ask you, what is the Lebanese government been saying and what have their demands been?
Here, because the Lebanese government, the central government of Lebanon, everybody know here, Lebanon is a country of coexistence of different sects. And these sects, they are Islamic and Christian, half Islamic. And the Islamic side, they are Sunnite and Shiite. Here, the Shiite community where Hezbollah exists, supported by Iran. Oh, everybody know here there is an internal problem in this country. But here, this problem in this country, we should deal with our our national situation. There is no other way. There is no other way. Supporting the government, the central government led by the President Joseph Aoun and the Prime Minister Nawaf Salam. These are two people where they able to take decisions to have arms just under the control of the let's say Lebanese government, and not to have any other arms. So he but needs support, and whenever let's say accepting to enter negotiation with them, it is by itself a support. Whenever they talk about an initiative, Lebanese initiative to negotiate with Israel, why up till now, 1 month ago, up till now, nobody look for them, nobody hear for them. By itself, it is a support. It is so. If we don't need war giving what the consequences of war is more people dying, more people, let's say, wounding, more people and hatred and. There is no peace coming from war. Peace can come just from negotiation, from mediation, from looking together, from having, let's say, diplomatic tools. Other than that, it is just a war to kill. Other than that, there is no solution. So at the end, we will go for negotiation. Why not negotiation starting now? But with the right people. They should negotiate with the government and not to negotiate with any other. All the previous, let's say, attempts, it was negotiation between a part of this country and Israel. Why? Why not with the Lebanese government? It's never happened. It's never happened. So now we have the president, we have the government, we have majority of the parliament, we have the population. All of these people, they are looking for peace. We don't look for our, let's say, existence by other than to exist with ourselves in peace and with our neighbors with peace. But peace here, there is no peace without justice.
It is really here so important issue. How can we ask for peace with occupation? We need peace here with respecting the people's rights and the nation's rights of having independence and sovereignty. So there is no other way than that. So, okay, let's go for having a war and killing and hatred and no peace. So we are looking for peace, and we are looking for peace even with our neighbors and for the Israeli themselves. We are looking for peace with them. They are looking now. They are living in peace. That's peace for them. In the coming future, what we will see? Another victims in Lebanon and in Israel and everywhere. So, like, let's acknowledge the situation that having peace, it can come. Yes, it's not impossible. Not just this country, let's say, living in war, and the other not. It not happened all over the world. It is here the same as many other. At the end, we should sit on the table and negotiate our let's say, interest, and our interest it's alike. Our interests are to respect each other.
Thank you, Fadi. And so your call is for the international community to respect
and to have peace.
Lebanon.
Peace can come through.
Your call is for the international community to respect Lebanon's government, to negotiate with Lebanon's government as a partner for peace.
Here supporting all humanitarian and relief efforts on all levels. We need a lot referring to that. We need negotiation. We need negotiation to sit on the table and to discuss everything.
While we're waiting for Fadi to get reconnected, one of the questions we've had here is, what can Australians do? You know, our government has been hopeless, refusing to name Israel for the violence it's doing in Lebanon. What can we do? Well, I'll tell you one thing we can do. Is the Global Greens have opened up a fundraising account for the Lebanese Greens to be used for relief in Lebanon and for the political project of the Lebanese Greens. I think Sam Brennan might be able to share the details about that fundraiser, which has really just been opened in the last 24 hours. There we are. If people want to take a screenshot of that, we'll leave it up for a minute. You can take the BSB and account number down. The Asia Pacific Greens have been one of the principal ways that we've kept, as a family, a Greens family, kept in connection over the last 3 years in particular, with the appalling genocide in Gaza, with the conflict in Lebanon. And I want to thank all the team in the Asia Pacific Greens for keeping these connections open. That's a fundraiser that's been opened expressly to help the Lebanese Greens and to provide some urgent relief. If you could take a screenshot of it, take down the BSB and the account number and the account name. Any donations would, I think, be incredibly important at this time to help out in Lebanon. Things as simple as food, electricity, those basic essentials are what's needed, as well as giving support to our friends and colleagues in the Lebanese Greens. Fadi, can you hear us again?
Yeah, it's fine, David. No, I'm
terrific,
here.
Terrific. One of the questions we've got is from Louise. Louise asks about reports that Israel is targeting hospitals, is bombing medics and ambulances. What are you hearing on the ground about hospitals, ambulances?
Here not targeting hospital, but evacuating, let's say. And there are hospitals that were closed, actually, not be able to work again. And populations here from not just small villages, but also big cities in the south of Lebanon, where are now fully empty of their population. So moving to different places and moving of staff by step here, moving to the villages where are closed, and moving from this village and move again and again. We started from the border between Lebanon and Israel, then to Litani, now to Awali, and now nobody know where it will become. And there is no serious now attempt to stop what's going on. So we is afraid here. We are, let's say, living a real fear that a total demographic change will happen with this for this country, where every community here somehow, in some places we have just a Christian, some other just Shiite, some other. Now they are moving to each other, and some sensitivity actually start to be created in different places in this country where we already live 15 years of civil war. So they are affecting our internal integrity of this country. So it will not be easy to cope with. Hopefully to close this war soon, or else we are going to different wars and not one war.
Fadi, how far is the occupation now reaching from the border with Israel? How far is the direct occupation, and how far is the kind of the mass evacuation?
The south of Lebanon and the Litani River, somehow majority, if not all, the Lebanese population left this area.
How many
and even
kilometers
it is continuous. Around 13% actually of the Lebanese territories. They are left now totally. There are no villages, and we have around 50 villages destroyed totally. Destroyed totally. In no way to anybody, let's say, to be in, or even any building. They are destroying all the buildings, all the houses, everything.
The Beirut itself, it's the different communities live very close to each other in Beirut.
Suburb of Beirut. Yeah, look here, the suburb of Beirut is a Shiite region area where Hezbollah exist. So most of this area destroyed. So every night, let's say, we are sleeping on the bombs from the Israeli side for this area, where the possibility of having Hezbollah and their buildings and whatever they are destroying, but also because of some of the people, let's say, fled to another places. Also here, the Israeli following them in Beirut, in Mount Lebanon, in different in any other different place, let's say, hitting them. So, but can anybody here imagine the situation how the south from one side, a big part of Beirut from other side, and even east of Lebanon, where Bekaa Valley having from time to time some bombs also and military strikes against them. So all the country affected. And also here, the central government became weak one. So to deal with a situation like this one, how it can be, they suggest their initiative. So here it's again and again so important for the Israeli side to respond, for the central government to negotiate with them and to speak with them.
I've heard reports that people who have taken in displaced people from southern Lebanon, from suburbs in Beirut that have been attacked, that Israel is threatening to attack people who take refugees on and have them living in their homes or living in their communities. And the threat's been made to communities if they dare shelter people. That seems to be part of what you're saying, Fadi, that you can be threatened simply because you provide shelter for a neighbour. Is that happening?
Here it's not easy because the nature of of Hezbollah and the resistance. It is many people nobody know if they are fighters or not. So they can exist in any place here. So after hitting by the Israeli, we discovered that these people, they are let's say, related to Hezbollah or not. So here the threat it exists in all of Lebanon in the situation like this one. It is really so complicated, and it never happened along history, a situation like this one.
But before this appalling restart of the conflict, the Lebanese Greens were looking forward to national elections, and national elections were slated, and there was a date set.
We are
Can you tell me
trying
about
to live,
what your
let's
hopes,
say here, our
what your hopes
natural.
are for that?
Yeah, because here, David, there is a problem on a problem, and so our internal challenge, let's say, with this country, a country of coexistence of different political, different sectarian sects, let's say, is a challenge for a party like our one Green Party of Lebanon. We're having people from all sects. So here, the major political parties in Lebanon, they are sectarian. Like Hezbollah, they are Shiite. Look for the other, let's say, Christian. Also, they have their own political, let's say, parties. And the same as for the other. There is no one political party covering all of Lebanon based on the humanitarian approach, on the human rights approach, and not sectarian one. So maybe it is only, we have another two, but another two is the communist and the other, but and another one, a Syrian party. These two parties, they have a background of violence in a way or another. They were part of the Lebanese internal civil war between 1975 and 1990. So the only maybe one which is a non-violence one, having, let's say, human rights approach and looking for the environment as a priority, it is something new for the political arena. Not just for Lebanon, I think, for all the MENA. So our year experience, it will be by itself. Having the opportunity, let's say, maybe after this war, to be flourished and to be exist, and everybody looking for it in a very positive way. We are respected by everybody because we are not belong to our historical, let's say, division and political division of this country. So trying to do our best with our connections, let's say, like the Australian Green now, and having such a support, external support, it is needed because our mission, it is not a mere Lebanese one. It is a human rights one, a global one. So there is an opportunity, a real opportunity with our coming elections, but we look for a new electoral system or electoral, because the old one, or actually whatever we have, it is a confessional one. It is not easy to express your let's say, position clearly here, at the same time to reflect your existence as it should be with this system. So looking for a new system, advanced one, and advanced, I mean here, looking for human rights and not looking for the sect rights.
Yep. Thanks, Fadi. I think one of the things I found really inspiring about the Lebanese Greens was that you were this one party that was cutting across religion, cutting across historical differences, cutting across sectarian. And I remember talking with members of the media, some other politicians about it, and they say, but, how would this work in Lebanon, where everybody is so sectarian? How can the Greens possibly work in Lebanon? It's an exciting challenge.
It is an even challenge, and even now maybe we are the only where we are exist everywhere and have a connection with everybody. But for sure here, our values, it is non-violence one. We don't look for violence as a tool for having existence among each other and even striving for our rights. whenever having rights violated, we should have resistance. We should have, but all of this resistance should be non-violence one and not any other. So here, creating conflict, maybe it is a tool for having advancement and having, let's say, peace, but without violence. So we have many things to advocate for, to create conflict for, and non-violence from one side to achieve our violence, our goals, let's say non-violently, and from other side to have dialogue and negotiation and peaceful means to develop and to advance and to push for having a real progress in our situation, and even to solve such a huge conflict, armed conflict now with the Israelis.
Fadi, I think we've got time for one more question. And while Fadi's answering this question, it might be a nice show of solidarity and support. If people are familiar how to use the reactions button down the bottom, you click the reactions and then you can do a variety of different reactions. While Fadi's giving this last answer, maybe we could show our support in the reactions that Fadi's given. But one of the questions we've had from Vivian is, Fadi, there's more than 300,000 Australian Lebanese members of the community here. What can we do to help you to connect with the Australian Lebanese Greens, the Australian Lebanese community?
Let me tell you, David, here. Look, everybody know the role of the, let's say, outsiders of the Lebanese. Mainly is the Lebanese role here outside Lebanon. If you look to our current situation now, there are a lot of support for the people having arms to fight and to do this and this. Why not to have support for people, let's say, speaking and talking a language where human rights exist? It's never, let me just one missile of THAAD or one missile of this ballistic missiles, which is cost around $4 million, just one missile, where our budget by 40 years, it will not be 4 million of one missile. They are not supporting peace. If you are looking to support peace and to have peace, you should look to support the peace mediators, the peace initiators, the peace pioneers. We are looking to have peace. And peace, it is not just to have it within ourselves on the individual and institutional level. Peace is one and only one. If you are living in peace, you are living in peace, and everybody living in peace, and overall globe living in peace, which is environment included. It is our challenge to live in peace and to support each other and to be beside each other and to build the trust with these values that we believe in.
Buddy, I can't think of a better message to end than one on peace. And if you want peace, invest in peace, support peace, campaign for peace. Thank you so much for joining us, Fadi. Can I thank everyone who came on to show their interest and show their solidarity with Lebanese Greens. Thank you. It's meant a lot to us to see you here in numbers supporting. But for the moment, Fadi, I want you to know that you have thousands and thousands of friends in Australia showing support for the Lebanese people, support for your project with the Lebanese Greens, and go with that solidarity, go with that friendship from Australia.
Don't imagine, David, now the moments that we are living to see this solidarity for people listening for us and listening for our suffering nowadays. It is really by itself a big support. Support, it is not coming just from maybe giving some humanitarian relief. By whatever you are doing, this initiative by itself, to have such an amazing webinar with people having the same missions that we have, looking for humanity all over the globe, as it is one issue to live for. So thank you so much. Appreciate a lot. and looking for one day to have a global conference in Lebanon, having all the people who are attending this webinar, to have them personally in this country, the country of the cedar, the country of environment, the country of peace.
Thank you, Fadi. We'll gather together under the cedars in peace. Thanks, everyone. We're going to give it a wrap there. Cheers.